The one thing I do want to set straight, which still for some reason this rumor persists, is that my brother died of an overdose.
Right.
And that is not the truth.
I know you gonna dig this. Get funky with me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to part 2 of my interview with Bernie Haim. We were talking, and we're going to continue talking. And we were talking about you being on the set of Lucas and the Charlie Sheen allegations. And you were 15. Charlie Sheen was 19.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. What was going on there?
Well, nothing.
Yeah.
Is the bottom line.
Right.
Nothing was going on. They were shooting a movie. I had a very tiny part in the movie. But I was there for the whole summer, which was fantastic because I made lots of friends on that set, some of whom I'm still in touch with. And nothing happened, basically. And it bugs people because Charlie Sheen then was just a 19-year-old guy. Like now when you think about Charlie Sheen and he was into all these weird things and I don't know, tiger blood. I'm just trying to remember all the weird.
The biggest scoundrel in Hollywood history probably is what people think of him as, right? Yeah.
Right. So, and, he had so many issues and so many problems and whatever. And now he's an adult and an older guy and whatever. Fine. But you have to remember, we're talking 1985 when he was 19 years old and I was 15 and Cory was 13. We were all kids. None of the allegations that have been made, we don't believe any of them. I don't believe them. I was there the entire summer. My mother doesn't believe them. There's another actor from the film. He and I have spoken. When those allegations came out, he called me and he's like, wait a second, he was there the whole time too. And they were friends. He and Charlie were friends. No. And the allegations are so fantastical that it's amusing.
Right.
That something happened with Crisco in between the trailer. You can't walk. It's not even logistically possible on a film set to do anything like this because there's so many people walking around. It's not like you're in the 1930s on a circus, in a circus tent or something where you can go behind and no one will see. It's not like that. It's just not possible. So we truly do not believe that Charlie Sheen did anything to my brother. Now, do I know that 100% for sure? Of course not. Was I with my brother 100% of the time, every minute of his life? Of course not. But I'm telling you, like, as someone who was there all summer long, and there will still be people who say she doesn't know what she's talking about, she's covering up, whatever. I can't do anything about that. Truly, from the bottom of my soul, we don't believe Charlie did anything. Am I saying Charlie Sheen is like an amazing, wonderful guy who never did any bad things? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when he was a 19-year-old guy, this story never happened.
Right.
That's truly, there was never a time, a place, it just didn't happen.
I'm glad you said that because there are going to be people that are going to say she's in denial. There's nothing
I can do about that.
No,
right?
And I'm glad you said that too. There's absolutely you're right. I mean, it's just it's ludicrous to me. Like you said now, as you said in the previous video, you said what happened to Cory with the one person that did this to him, and then Cory, he the substance abuse issue.
My brother did have a substance abuse issue. And a lot of people ask me if I think it was related to being a child actor. Yes and no. I do think that if my brother hadn't become a child actor, he would still have been a drug user. I do believe that because I think that was just his personality.
Yeah.
And he was always very sort of easily swayed by other kids, even as a kid, a little kid. Mm-hmm. So I do think so. I think that being in the film industry gave him a lot more access than he would have otherwise had. Sure. And he had, at the time, more money and whatever, and more people who wanted him to like them, whatever. There was a lot more opportunity.
Hangers on that want to be close to Cory.
Hangers on, and here's some drugs and whatever. The one thing I do want to set straight, which still for some reason this rumor persists, is that my brother died of an overdose.
Right.
And that is not the truth. So my brother died of pneumonia, which I didn't know, frankly, that you could die from at the age of 38. He had an enlarged heart and he had pneumonia and no drugs in his system. So the last few months of his life, he was actually clean of drugs for more than a few months. every now and then he would dabble in drugs, but literally the last number of months of his life, there were none.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the sad thing that people, I mean, he was a drug abuser without question. And I personally feel that, yeah, when you do a lot of drugs, it's going to damage your system, right? So of course, maybe it would affect somebody, maybe the pneumonia affected him more deeply because he had done damage to himself in the earlier years. So that's totally possible.
Yeah.
But, you know, and people are, again, will say, well, no, he did drive a drug overdose, whatever. I can't do anything about that either. We have a coroner's report.
I know. I was going to say, read the
yeah,
report.
like, and they don't, those people don't lie. They don't care, right? They just put the science out there. And that's just the fact, unfortunately, that he died of pneumonia. So I don't think he was sick. He had a cold. He just got worse and worse. And I don't think he realized how it had really developed into his lungs until it was sort of too late.
Yeah.
So
at the age of 38, you're gonna, as sick as you get, you don't think you're going to get sick from cold or pneumonia. So you're probably, and to being a male too, with that alpha male, you know, it's kind of a thing. Like,
and he was a fairly healthy person. Other than that, he liked to play frisbee. He liked to go out and just be active outside, and you know, he liked cooking, and he liked, you know, a whole bunch of things. Like, he was a pretty active guy. So yeah, I think that probably it would never have occurred to him that he was as sick as he was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Do you get to go visit him a lot?
We don't live too far away. I don't go often, but we go a couple of times a year. We go out on his birthday. We tend to go on the anniversary of his death. We tend to go around the Jewish holidays. My mom likes to go on the special holidays.
Right.
So I take her up there. Sometimes we take my kids up there if they want to go. Yeah, so we go a few times a year.
Oh, and I want to show you. I put them aside here.
Okay.
Because these are the extra ones I have. This is what Tamara drew, and you have. Whoops. There we go.
Yep.
You have these that I left at Cory's grave. You went and got them.
I did.
I'm sending these back to Tamara.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's a huge fan of your brother.
Yeah, she sent those to you to put down at the grave, which you did on his birthday this year. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, my mom and I had been there that morning, and my son, and so we missed each other there. And yeah, I've never actually met anybody else at the grave, although I know fans do go, because whenever we do go, there's always new things there. There's new, So
I've been there a few times, and there's always something new. I mean, and it's not in Toronto. It's outside of Toronto.
No, it's outside of Toronto.
Distance, you know. Mm-hmm. So if people go out there and find the grave at the very back, you know that it's something special.
It is very special. And whenever people tell me they do that, I'm always really amazed that they took that much time to go out and see and to pay respects to him, because it is, if you want to go out there, you got to want to go. It's not like it's a convenient trip. And so that's always really amazing and fascinating to me. And we're very grateful that people remember him and think positively about him.
He's got the amount of people that have written on the comments or direct message me and stuff is unbelievable. And then the amount of people that weren't even born in the 80s, let alone the 90s, that are fans of Cory Haim is surprising. Every day I get something from somebody else that's I'm just like, what? How do you know? Like, you know what I mean? And then I asked somebody else. I asked one of my cousins that reason. I said, "Do you know who Cory Haim is?" And they said, "No, who's that?" And I was like, I was like, the Lost Boys. They're like, what's that? I
have so much to teach you.
Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, Cory's got such a huge family, because that was such a, I said it in the video, like Silver Bullet, notwithstanding, Lost Boys and License to Drive, that double whammy of two just cultural, you know, milestones.
It was a special time. It was really a special time. And those movies are just so iconic. And it's really, you know, those movies are like comfort food for a lot of people, like just to watch them over and over again. And there are a lot of movies in that era that are like that.
To go back, we were talking about before, not to belabor the point, but when we were talking about the two Corys, the TV show, like a lot of people, like I remember when I watched it, I was mesmerized, but I knew it was scripted reality, like Real Housewives and other shows like that. And it's surprising how many people don't realize that. But when you watch it now, you watch clips, because you know it's scripted reality, you see how good of an actor your brother was.
Yeah.
How talented he was, because he made it real.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky one. You know, I'm not a huge fan of reality TV myself. I've just never really taken to it.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of those shows are really scripted because you need a good guy and you need a bad guy. You need conflict, right? And if you're just kind of hanging out in a house, that's kind of boring. So you need someone to be the good one and someone to be the bad one. And I mean, I'm sure that some of the conversations they had on that show were real. But there's also editing. Like, I think when using editing, you can change a story so quickly. Have you ever seen any of those clips on YouTube where it's like they show you a movie like, I don't know, Home Alone or something, and then somebody's recut it to make and put different music to make it look like a horror film or something?
Well, of course. Yeah. That's hilarious.
So like, and it's the same dialogue and the same everything, the same shots. But I mean, you can really manipulate film so amazingly. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, when I film my videos, I can actually edit it to make it look like I know what I'm doing. And people have no idea that I'm actually just a moron.
I'm sure your viewers are so happy that you at least can make it look like you know what you're doing.
I make it look like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I have no clue. So my friend Jojo, who watches the channel, so we're gonna go. I've got a few more questions here.
Okay.
Jojo, and this is a really good one because there's a lot of questions about this. What did the numbers stand for on his headstone?
Oh, that is a good question. So 222. So my dad was a sports guy too when he was a kid, and his number was 2, like on the back of his jersey for hockey or for baseball or whatever. So then when we were kids, my dad wanted us to have that number, but he didn't want us to have that particular number. So we went with 22. So it just became a thing that the 2 is really my dad's number and the 22 is my brother and mine when I played our number. And so it just became a thing, this 222 thing.
So it has nothing to do with Corey Feldman or the stars or astronomy or anything.
It has nothing to do with Feldman. It has nothing. I know, sadly. He wants it to be that way, but I mean, it's not. It was a thing with my dad. And my dad and my brother had like a real connection as well. So that was just their thing, this 222. It wasn't only after he died. It was before he died too. For many years, that was their thing. My dad had a license plate with that number on it, and you know, it was just a thing. So my mom put it on.
Somebody told me that a while ago, that exactly what you just told me, and I was like, well, that makes sense. I mean, it's a family headstone put together. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to put something to do with it has nothing. By the way, is he in Montreal?
My dad is in Montreal. He's very well. Yeah, and Cory and I have another brother. I don't know if you know this. We have a younger brother named Daniel. He's from my dad's second marriage, and he's also in Montreal. He's a good guy. He's so he lives in Montreal as well. Yeah.
And how's your mom doing?
She's well. She's doing well. Her health is pretty good, all things considered. She had some health issues.
A lot of people are asking about to ask how your mother is. So
that's so sweet. Thank you, guys. Yeah. So she had cancer before my brother passed away. She had cancer. Thank goodness it's gone and has not recurred, which is thank God. And yeah, I know, seriously. And she's in her early 70s and she's pretty spry and she's great. My kids like adore her. They love her to death and she loves them to death. And she doesn't live too far away from me, so she spends quite a bit of time with my little guys, and she's doing pretty well.
It's always surprising when I've seen interviews with Cory when your mom's there, or interviews with your mother when she has the accent.
It's so funny. I don't hear her accent because I'm so used to her, but she does. I mean, she grew up in Israel.
Yeah,
she came to Canada. She came to Canada when she was 15 years old. Yeah. But you know, those accents stick around. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how many friends of mine had mothers with Israeli accents? I couldn't count.
Yeah,
because I recognized it right away.
For sure.
So Carolyn Ward asks, she has a few questions. What was the name of his dog? The one he wore his dog tags after he died, or he wore his tags? I didn't know that.
That was Q. He had a big, huge. It was a bull mastiff, and his name was Q, like the letter Q. And he was very drooly and very sweet.
Okay, and then we already discussed his hobbies. I think it was hockey and music and sports, right? I mean,
he loved sports. He liked when as a kid, like hockey, baseball. He liked frisbee. he was like really into Frisbee. I gotta say, like always, even up to
Really?
the end. Like, yeah, I don't know why. He really liked going out and throwing the Frisbee around, like simple stuff. He really liked to cook. He was quite a good cook. He'd make like smoothies and slushies in the blender. He really liked icy drinks. So he'd put those in the blender and make those. He liked painting, of course.
Oh, that's cool.
He was a visual artist. So in the last number of years of his life, he really found a love of visual arts and painting. And we have a few of his, my mom has a couple of his giant canvases at her place. And they're all abstract. I have a very tiny one somewhere in my house. And actually you can buy prints of them. There's a website, it's Fine Arts America. And you can buy like a print or a blanket or a mug or whatever that has his artwork. And I'll get you a link and you can post it. It's really, really nice stuff. It's really interesting, his stuff.
Oh, okay. I'll take a look at that. Yeah. And I'll tell people, Fine Arts, what was it?
It's called Fine Arts America. And you just,
Fine Arts America.
When you go to fineartsamerica.com, I think it is, you just Google or you search in the search bar for Corey Haim and you'll find his work. So there's about 6 or 7 or 8 prints.
I didn't know that. I always pictured, like growing up, like he's a little bit older than me, but I always pictured, okay, well, when he comes back to Toronto, we're going to become best friends. That's obvious. And then when you said he loves Frisbee, I was like, oh no, I'd be out because I'm afraid of Frisbees flying at me. Cooking, I don't like that either. I don't like hot pots around me. So maybe we would. But then he brought up fine art. He likes art and hockey. So yeah, we would have been.
Yeah, he liked art and he liked music as well. Of course, he dabbled in piano and keyboards and singing quite a bit. And so yeah, he liked
there's some videos like him on YouTube, I think, playing the piano. And there's some, I think, did he have a record out? Or
he did.
Put out? Yeah.
I think he tried to put out something. He's got a couple of songs out there. Yeah.
Very late 80s, early 90s sounding. Yeah. It's nice. It's I listened to one of them the other day, and a lot of people when they sing, they sound completely not like themselves, and it sounds like Corey Haim.
Oh, cool!
He's got a nice voice.
A long time, but yeah.
Fern Reeves writes, it's not a question. She just wants to let you know. I didn't say who I was talking to. I just said if you could ask a member of Corey Haim's family a question.
Oh, okay.
I left it vague. She said I would have a question for him or whoever. I would, however, thank Corey for being a wonderful man and an inspiration to me and many. I would give him the praise he deserves for not only being an incredible actor but a wonderful person.
Oh, thank you, Fern. That's really, really nice.
Yeah, that's
so nice when people say like nice things about him, and
everybody has. I mean, there's a question here again from I think Gloria already asked. Yes, Gloria already asked her, but she said, and we asked an answer already. How did he feel about his mother? And the answer,
he adored my mother. Like he adored my mother. They had a really, really, really close relationship. They lived together. I mean, when my mom was sick with cancer, he took care of her. He actually, when she started to lose her hair, he actually shaved her head for her. Like they were close. They were
they were really close. Yeah,
they were close. And he told my mother everything, like really, really, really close. So it was so beyond difficult for my mom, and it's still so beyond difficult for my mom when my brother died, because that's like the worst thing that you can experience in life. So it amazes me, like when I see her laughing with my kids and whatever, I'm still kind of amazed that she can do that, because how do you do that? But she does. And so yeah, it was really, really difficult when my brother died, and it's still difficult. It's awful. But
the world lost a star. She lost her son.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. But she's an amazing person, and she goes on, and she's so amazing with my kids, and she's a fantastic person. So we're lucky to have her. And, you know, I mean, again, people want the drama of no, they got to get along, whatever. I can't help you guys. Like, it's not super exciting. I'm sorry. He was a nice Jewish boy who loved his mother. I don't know what else to tell you.
You know, your mother gets like, on something, I'd steer clear of it like you do, but you know, like some people judging her or whatever for the way, you know, for Corey in the 80s and all that. It's like, well, first of all, he's doing what he loves. Second of all, your mother couldn't be with him 24/7. Even my parents weren't around me at 15, 16, 17. 20%. They would roll over in the grave if they knew what I was doing at that age, let alone.
It was also a very different time. So now we're looking at the abuse, for example, through the lens of 2020, 2021, when we had the Me Too movement, and we know all these things now that it's wrong and that you need to speak up for yourself, and that, but we didn't. It's not that we didn't know abuse was wrong in 1985. We did, or whatever year it was, but it wasn't the same. It was very, very, very different in the sense of how it was addressed, how you would deal with it, especially for a boy. Like, it's hard to say that, but it was. I mean, we like to think we were super, like, advanced and whatever, but it was a different time. So everyone's like, why didn't your mother go to the police? Whatever. My brother wouldn't have wanted her to do that. It just wasn't. And now, of course, if that had happened, there wouldn't be a question on how to deal with it. I remember I personally, I'm a teacher. When I was a young teacher, I had an incident with a coworker that assaulted me. And I went to my principal and told him about this incident, and I was given a choice. Did I want to formally complain, or did I want to informally complain? And I was a new on probation teacher. So I said, I'll informally complain. Like, that wouldn't even be an option now, right?
Of course. Yeah,
my principal wouldn't give me that choice. And this is only about, let's say, 22, 23 years ago. So it was just a different way of dealing with things. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying all the right decisions were made, but it's really easy to look back with the lens that we're looking at it from now,
right, and
say we would have made a different decision.
So true. I mean, you think about, like, when something like that happens to a child star, to a celebrity, and everybody automatically blames the parents right away. Now, say, God forbid, a child is abused by their baseball coach. People blame the baseball coach right away. They don't blame the parents in that situation, or by a clergy member. It's so different when it comes to celebrity. The parents, it's the bad parenting, right?
I can see it in a way, because I mean, I know my mother because she's my mother, but for other people,
she's not going to put up with that.
But also, people who don't know her, but who feel like they know or knew my brother, are upset by the fact that he was abused by someone, which I completely understand. It's very upsetting. We're all very upset by that, and they need to blame someone. And it's super convenient to blame. Where were the parents? I get it. I'm a parent now. It's really hard. I mean, and my kids are not super old yet, but I'm not with them 24 hours a day, even though they're young. Yeah. And God forbid something happens. Yes, I will deal with it as much as I can. But people, I think, want to blame my mother. Also, there's a lot of things in the media, and certain people have put things in the media that she did this and she did that. She did nothing. She's trying to protect her kids the best way she could at the time.
Right.
And I understand, in a way, people wanting to lay blame somewhere, right? And it's really convenient to lay it on my mom. My parents didn't abuse us. They were loving, wonderful parents. They spent a lot of time with us. Were mistakes made? Probably, but show me the parent that hasn't made a mistake. I've probably made 47 today. And it's what time? I don't know. Like, not even bedtime yet.
Right? So, of course. Yeah. Okay.
So,
good. We'll go on. We've got a few more. I think Mandy Guest asked, did Cory love anything else? We asked and answered that, but just to say her name, Mandy, she wanted her name said. And I actually think I got most of the questions from people. So let's just finish up with a little bit about Cory, then on to you, some of the fun stuff about Cory. What was he like after the movies, kind of like, the big movies? He was still working in the 90s. I mean, it happens. It's hard to hit such a huge high. It happens to almost every actor to continue it, right?
Yeah, it's hard. And it was a really difficult transition for him to go from child actor to adult actor. So he had a long periods of time where he didn't work in acting, and that's hard, because it became a lot of his identity was, getting value and getting esteem out of being an actor. So when you're not acting, it's frustrating and it's annoying, and it's like, why won't, it's a hard transition. He did do a number of films later on when he got a little bit older, as an adult. He did a number of films. that, you know, he loved working. So, and when he wasn't working, he was, you know, doing his other things, cooking and painting. And I think that's when he came up with the painting, like just to keep busy and to be creative. He's a creative person, right? So when you're creative, you want to have an outlet.
Of course.
So,
Blown Away is a really popular movie of his. That one.
Yeah.
A lot of people mention that, and to me, the guys go up Blown Away. I forget that was a pretty popular film.
Yeah.
I don't
I don't actually think I've seen Blown Away because, you know, bad sister.
Oh yes, I guess that's right. Now that I'm thinking, I wouldn't.
It's creepy. No, there's certain things you don't want to watch your brother doing. So no.
Stick to License to Drive. Stick to him as less. Yeah. What's your favorite movie of Cory's?
Lucas. Without question, Lucas. I love Lucas so much. I just love that movie. I mean, whether my brother was in it or not.
Right.
I love it's such a beautiful story. It's so well told. It's so well cast. Like it's just lovely. And I just really like it. And I refuse to allow it to be tainted by nonsense. It's okay to still like that movie, you guys. It's really. I think
as Mike Barone said, he mentioned Lucas. People watch it and they're not thinking about stuff. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's just noise. So it's a really lovely movie.
What was Winona like? Because I did have a big crush on Winona Ryder.
She was amazing. I mean, we were all friends, and you have to remember that was like her first movie, right? So we were friends. We stayed in touch for a few years. I'm not in touch with her anymore.
Right.
She was a lovely, lovely girl. She was also 13. I think she and Cory were about the same age at the time. She and I went to the movies together once. I remember taking a taxi with her, going to see a movie together. But she wasn't Winona Ryder then. She was just Noni. Like we called her Noni. I don't know if she's still called Noni, but she was called Noni then.
Yeah, it was one of her first films too. I think maybe her first or one of them.
First, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say. So why don't you tell us about what you're doing, about your film? This you were telling me about it. We'll do another interview maybe or something in a few months when you're getting closer. But give us a little brief something about it.
I am an actor, as I told you, and I'm a writer. And I came up. I'm a tired mom. Scott is the bottom line. I'm a very tired mom, and you know what I really love to do is nap, and I'm really good at it. Like. And people don't want me to nap. They want me to be like, making lunch and stuff. So I decided I would write a movie. What if napping was a competitive sport in the Olympics?
Nice.
So, So I'm going to be shooting a film called Demonstration Sport, where I'm going to be a mom whose dream it is to bring home the gold for Canada in the demonstration sport of competitive napping. And that's my little film. And it'll be shooting at some point in the spring. And I hope to launch my crowdfunding campaign for it soon, within the next month or two.
Yeah.
And I'll share that hopefully with your viewers if anyone wants to be a contributor to that and help us with that film. We'd be thrilled to have your contribution and your partnership with that.
Yeah.
And regardless, I think it'll be a fun time.
And where do you think it's going to be? Is something for festivals or something right?
Festivals. I think it's a short film. It'll run about 10 minutes long. And the goal will be to put it into some worldwide festivals and get some recognition with that. And I think it's hilarious. Like it's going to be really, really fun.
Right.
And hopefully other tired parents like myself will relate. So the competitive nap, man, I'm so into that. And I'm so bringing home the gold.
You're keeping up with somebody 1/25th of your age. Oh my God. You're trying to keep up with somebody that's like 1/25th of your age or something.
It's not for the faint of heart, man. It's just not. And right, little guy. My little guy's like right over there on the computer, and I'm gonna put everybody to bed soon.
Well, where do you think? Okay, so we'll wrap it up. Where do you think, if Cory were still with us, and we all miss him so much, and you and your family especially obviously miss him more than myself as a fan or other people as a fan could even imagine. He's your brother. He's your little brother.
My little brother, yeah.
Where do you think Cory would be today?
That's a really good question. I think he would probably have moved into directing. Like professionally, I think he would have moved into directing because that was sort of where he wanted to go. I think he would still be acting and performing in some capacity. maybe doing some writing because he had a lot of really good ideas for new films. I think he would have absolutely been over the moon in love with his niece and nephew. And they would have adored him as well.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
may have had his own.
He like loved kids.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And kids loved him. Like he was like a very big kid magnet.
Yeah.
And my kids would have adored him. And my kids are upset that they never got to know him. But we do talk about him and they refer to him as Uncle Cory. And my son especially will get upset. Sometimes he'll say it's not fair that Uncle Cory died before I could meet him. And it's sad, but we still talk about him and we say, well, we remember him. And, they haven't really seen too much of his films, but
I guess they're too young to see any of his films.
Some clips of Lucas. I'm kind of careful about what they watch. So not yet, but soon.
Yeah. License to Drive. I just watched it probably about 2 months ago. Yeah. And it's pretty tame, but
I'll have to do a pre-screening. But maybe that might be a lot of fun for them, actually.
Definitely not Lost Boys. Definitely not Silver Bullet.
Oh, God, no, I can't even watch Lost Boys without covering my face.
Come on.
I'm not kidding. I'm very scared of everything. I read that script. I was on the set. It was 30 million years ago, and I'm still with the maggots and I can't. I can't.
I forgot that Joel Schumacher had just passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, to be someone like you who you probably saw him on set or met Joel Schumacher. That man is. I mean, he looks a little nutso out there, but he's a genius filmmaker.
Yeah, for sure. And just the fact that I think my brother just also felt very lucky that he got to work with so many amazing people.
Yeah.
And so many amazing people. Like he really liked that part of his life, that he was connected to so many interesting, creative people.
Okay. Well, I say Cory.
You know how many times that happens to me? I'll say, hi, I'm Cari Haim. I'll meet someone at my job. Hi, I'm Cari Haim. And they'll go, oh, like Cory. Thinking that it's a joke. And I'll go, yes, he was my brother. And then they go, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no. It's okay.
How does that even, how we started the interview, how does it even, if in Toronto, if you hear the last name Haim, first of all, people that mispronounce it, I'm like, oh my God, you're definitely not from Toronto if you can't pronounce Haim. But if you hear the last name Haim in Toronto, well, you're going to assume the person's either related or somehow related to Cory Haim right away.
And it's age related. I find people more around my age definitely would know and make a connection. And as you said earlier, some of the younger people don't know.
Yeah,
which is fine. It's not like they're obliged to know who he was. It's all good. But it is always interesting when people find out that there is a connection.
There he is. There's
that's awesome.
Kerri,
you'll stay. You too, though, for being so kind and being so respectful and just so sweet talking about my brother. And it's so lovely to talk to you finally in person.
Yeah, he was a really big. I'm getting a little choked up because I really looked up to him as a kid. I really just not just because he was such a huge famous actor. It was just like he was somebody from down the street who is now doing what I wanted because I wanted to be an actor at that age, and I couldn't be jealous because he was so likable, and even though he was dating my girlfriend, Alyssa Milano, I still couldn't not like him. I looked up to him so much, so I appreciate him and please say hi to your mother and your father.
I definitely will. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll keep you on for a second before I end this, but did you want to say something? Sorry.
No, I just wanted to thank your viewers who sent in the questions because that was really nice. And thanks for remembering him and keeping his memory alive. And it's really special for our family when we hear those kinds of things. So I appreciate you guys letting us know that because I do share all that with my mom and she's just really grateful and it's wonderful.
Oh, well, hi, Jude.
I will tell her. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Kerri.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay. Peace out, everyone.
Bye.
best of times, but only, yeah, 'cause you're not around. Here the days are a trial, and I've found that I'm my own little child. Does anyone know how to make time, yeah, to make time fly by? I've walked for too many miles, looking for some kind of sign, but none could I find, except for your hand in mine, and the river is so wide, there'll be be no cross to the other side. Heroes, they come when they're called, but idols are set up for a fall, and I think I know what I need. Don't forget about